Sending to YouTube. Cue the music.
Bring. Hey, that's pretty good, Bindi, on a Monday morning. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcus Grant, joined by Greg Bergman. Happy, I guess it's not really a victory Monday, but it's kind of a victory Monday, Greg.
Yeah, it's a victory Monday. You took 2 of 3 from the Yankees. You have to. It is a victory. I mean, Yamamoto was a little bit off, and your ace lost the final game, but you won 2 of 3. That's just baseball. I'm happy.
Absolutely baseball. Very happy with what happened this weekend at Chavez Ravine with the Dodgers taking 2 of 3 from the Yankees. We will dive into that. Maybe even get a little preview of the Mets who come in for 4 games starting tonight. But before we do any of that, give a shout out to the folks at LAX. They are transforming the travel experience and saving guests time. For more information, you can go to flylax.com/transforminglAX. 2 or 3 from the Yankees. I mean, Greg, I don't know that we could have asked for better. You mentioned it. Yamamoto did struggle a little bit on Sundays. The Yankees win the finale by a score of 7-3. But top to bottom, Greg, this was, I think, more than anybody would have expected. You got good, decent pitching performances, good enough certainly to keep you in the ball game, and the offense showed up big. This, I think, was everything we could have imagined this weekend.
Yeah, if you talked, I'm not sure what you guys talked about on Friday, but I was looking at who the pitchers were, and I saw Tony Gonsolin, okay, has been kind of up and down, struggling a little bit. Landon Knack has been better, but also, like, it's against the Yankees. Does that hold up? And then Yamamoto on Sunday, and I thought to myself, all right, so look, we're gonna win 1 of 3. Like they're gonna win the Yamamoto start because Yama is just the stopper. We've talked about this a ton. He's that guy. He's the ace. He's the Cy Young candidate. He's everything that we want. And then the other 2 won. And the way that Tony Gonsolin got that win is just on Friday is the craziest way to get a win that I've seen in quite some time, Marcus.
It really was a tale of 2 starts for Tony Gonsolin because the first 3 innings were awful. Was it 5 home runs? 4 home runs that he gave up? 5 home runs in the first 3 innings. I mean, I put in the text chat, it was like he was throwing BP. Every time I looked up, even the balls that weren't leaving, we're getting smoked and going to the deep part of the outfield all the time. It just seemed sort of bad. And then for whatever reason, after the 3rd inning, he locked in, he got them through 6, and the offense came to life. I know people keep saying, keep talking about that 5th inning in Game 5 of the World Series. I don't know that they really bear a resemblance to one another, other than the fact that the Dodgers came from behind, and eventually took the lead. But I felt like those comparisons weren't quite accurate.
No, I mean, going based off just the fact that it happened at the same time they had 5 runs, it was a 5-1 game. It's like all the things that were going on. It had nothing to do with errors. They weren't dropping balls in the outfield and and guys not running to first base or missed throws to third base or balls getting through the infield. Like, it was just a completely different game. However, it just bears the resemblance because of all the situations. Dodgers, Yankees, it's a 5 runs, 5th inning, the whole thing. It just was very, very funny overall. And it just makes me very happy that the Dodgers were living in the head of the Yankees. I was going to say, I was really hoping that they did sweep and then say, like, the Dodgers are undefeated against the Yankees at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Because they won the first 2 games. They won the first 4 games now.
Yeah. Yeah, couldn't quite pull it off, but whatever. 2 out of 3 is still fantastic. You mentioned Tony Gonsolin. It was not the greatest beginning to his start, but he was able to salvage it and come back and lock down the rest of the way. Then you mentioned Landon Knack, because that was the one that I was probably the most concerned with, just because he had really struggled. He'd been up and down, and having to deal with that lineup from top to bottom seemed very concerning. But Greg, I'm no baseball genius, but I feel like getting staked to a 10-0 lead after 2 innings lets you feel a little bit more comfortable on the mound.
little bit more comfortable, just like a slight bit when you have that big cushion. But he pitched great. He's been pitching much better recently. And really, if you take he had an inning at the beginning of the season when he first got called up, but he just got smacked around, and then he settled himself, and he's been really good since then. So Landon Knack, he's putting in his work, and he's might be a part of this rotation for a long time now, because especially with all the injuries. I love what Landon Knack showed.
No, I absolutely loved it. I mean, that was the game that was it was a lot of fun to watch. 18-2 was the final score. The only 2 runs coming on a pair of solo home runs by Aaron Judge. Which, side note to that, I guess the key for the Dodgers winning this weekend was to let Judge hit home runs.
Right.
the two games he hit homers in, the Dodgers won. The day he goes 0-4 was the one game that the Dodgers lost. So,
so weird.
Go figure. Offensively, the team continues to roll along. And I think, as impressive as everything they did, Greg, was the fact that they did this without Mookie Betts in the lineup. And I know Mookie has not been, maximum Mookie that we're used to seeing, but still the threat of him in the lineup, the threat of having his bat there really is a game changer. So for them to go out to win 2 of 3 and to score as many runs as they did this weekend without Mookie Betts, I thought that was really impressive too.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great, and a lot of it was. I mean, on Friday it was the top of the order, but really Saturday and Sunday was all at the bottom, and it was really guys like Max Muncy, who I'm sure we have to talk about at some point here. Max Muncy was great this weekend. Hassan Kim at the bottom of the lineup was really, really good. And there's a lot to talk about with Hassan Kim too. But just to finish your question, your comment, the batting it all came back. You're healthy. Besides Mookie Betts now, everybody else is healthy and kind of playing where they're supposed to be playing. I think there's a lot of discussion about what happens with Kim, what happens with Mookie when he comes back. I think those things are a little bit of question marks, but otherwise, Andy Pages was getting hits every single game, had RBIs in all 3 games, had a home run yesterday. Like it wasn't so much about that 1, 2, 3, 4 as it was the 5 through 9.
Yeah, well, and in the finale, I mean, the 1, 2, 3, 4, put up a tough 0 for 16 in the ball game. But as you mentioned, the bottom of the lineup really kept them afloat. You had the home run from Edman. You mentioned the home run from Pages, and then that just gets us to Max Muncy, who I know the fans have been frustrated. I know the chat has been very frustrated with Max Muncy. But he came to play over the weekend.
Yeah.
He hit the ball well. He's been hitting the ball well for a couple of weeks now. I think, he's somewhere around 300 just for the last couple of weeks. And I mean, Greg, it looks like everything's back. The power stroke is coming back. He's more patient at the plate. He's just driving the ball well. So I know it was a miserable start to the season, but now that the weather's warming up and we're getting to June, maybe we're going to see the Max Muncy we've been hoping for.
That's what the hope is, right? But also there was a lot of things that were happening, because when he was hitting the ball, he was hitting the ball hard, and when he was pulling the ball, he was pulling it too much. He was going out of play. He had home run style balls that were all going way to the right. You're like, oh, that's great if it was just 3 feet to the left, and he's starting to have those balls go 3 feet to the left. So he's showing that he is hitting with power. He has. If you said to me by June that Max Muncy would have 7 home runs, would you believe me with the way that he started the season?
With the way he started? No, not with the way he started.
Absolutely not. But he is at 7 home runs now. He's starting to pick it back up. And over the last 15 games, he's batting over 300. He has a 419 on base percentage. He has an 1,000 OPS. He's actually the only one on this Dodgers roster, or the Dodgers, the roster that's in the last 15 days has an over 1,000 OPS. It's starting to come together for Max Muncy. It was always going to take him time. Muncy was one of those guys that we had to just kind of give some air to breathe to be able to figure it out. He's earned that right to get some air to breathe. Now, his defense is still not great. He didn't have any miscues that I remember right now off this weekend, but that is still something that is a problem. Overall, though, and even so, if you want to go back a little bit longer, 30 days, 282 average, 385 on base, 936 OPS. Like that's good for the last month for Max Muncy. That's what you want from him. So yeah, giving him some time was definitely warranted.
No, absolutely. And again, I think for a lot of the fans, I mean, look, let's put it this way. when you're comparing Max Muncy and Michael Conforto, they've certainly been the frustration of a lot of people, but it does feel like I think everybody was willing to give Muncy a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt because we have seen it. And so I think that's kind of the thing. So it's nice to see that sort of come around. But I guess to that point, even Conforto, I know the numbers aren't special, but he's starting to at least put the ball in play. He's starting to hit the ball hard. I still don't think he has a hit with runners in scoring position since March, but he is making things happen at the plate, and I think that's step one in this process.
Yeah, he's starting to get there. I mean, again, I've never really liked the signing. I never have been a big Conforto guy. When he gets hits, I'm like, yay, you got a single. When he walks, that's great. I mean, I feel he is who he is. He's still striking out a bunch. I just, at some point, we have to look at what's the best for the lineup just in general. He's going to play for a while, at least through the All-Star break. So I'm just yelling at clouds right now. But for the most part, if you want to talk about what the best actual lineup is, it's going to be Teoscar and right. Whether or not you like Teo and right, he's the right fielder.
Yeah.
Teo and right, Edman or Pages at center, and then if Edman's at center, you put Pages in left, and then you have Kim playing second base, because I don't need to see any more Miguel Rojas. In general at all. I think it's just that time has passed. If we want to start looking for a new villain, because I know Conforto's not going anywhere. Rojas, probably the guy that's grounding into double plays with Shohei Ohtani coming up, just not acceptable in the slightest. So those are just kind of things that, if you want to go real fast with Conforto, he's going to be there. You can put when Edman's at second, he put Paz at center. That's when Conforto plays left. Otherwise, Kim should be at second base all the time.
Yeah, I think Kim should be the everyday second baseman. I mean, I saw in the chat somebody suggested, I don't know if it was a typo, they said shortstop, but either way, he's not going to be the shortstop when Mookie comes back. I mean, let's just put that to bed. But he does deserve to be in the lineup every day. He's hitting the ball well. He makes things happen on the bases. He's a good defensive player. It's getting harder and harder to justify getting Rojas at bat. I mean, I guess at this point, though, Greg, it's just, does Dave Roberts trust Kim to hit against left-handed pitching? I think that's the only thing that keeps him out of the lineup at this point, is when they face lefties right now.
I mean, probably not at this point, but I mean, he's not playing enough. He's batting over 400, and he went 4 for 4 on Saturday with a home run and two really good defensive plays, one in center field and one in second base. That was a great game overall against the Yankees. And I don't care if it's a right-handed or a left-handed. The fact is that he had a great game. He deserved to be in the lineup on Sunday, and he wasn't. And I thought that was kind of just a little bit annoying just in general. But at some point, you have to let him see if he can hit that left-handed pitching, because, I haven't seen – his splits are just too small of a sample size right now to be like, oh, he can't hit lefties. So no matter what, he's been showing everything that he's done. He goes through a little bit of slump here and there, but it's always short. He needs to be in the lineup every single day. If it's not just for his glove, but it is for his bat, and being able to just get singles at the bottom of the lineup. He does what Shohei needs. He gets on base, and then when he's on base, he has speed that Shohei can then drive him in. We've seen it over and over again, time and time again. I don't know what the reason is that Hassan Kim is not in the everyday lineup, but he absolutely should be.
Yeah, I think at this point he's earned that opportunity, and give him those opportunities against left-handers, see what he can do. And look, if he ends up falling on his face, then you sort of readjust. But for now, I think he deserves that opportunity to be there. Looking at sort of big picture now, they gotten through the weekend. They get 2 of 3. They got a tough series with the Mets coming up for sure. Still 2-game lead in the division over the Padres, 3 games over the Giants, a game back of the best record in the National League right now. And some sort of positive news about pitching overall, Greg. I mean, we know Michael Kopech is very close to coming back. I think he may have made his final rehab stint down in Oklahoma City, so he could be back very soon. And Emmett Sheehan looks like he potentially is on the way too. Some good news from Emmett Sheehan. He's looked good down there at AAA as well.
Yeah, Emmett Sheehan, apparently he was pitching really well in the lower ball, and then he came up and he pitched in AAA, and he had 2 hits and no runs in 3 innings. He's looking pretty good now. That's another guy that you can just slot into your rotation that was pitching well when he was healthy. So I would love to get another arm back in here, and it'd be great for this team that needs arms with all these dudes on the IL, and more are probably going to start going on the IL. We lost Evan Phillips, so that's another bullpen arm that goes up. I know Sheehan's a starter, but still, like, that's as many arms as you can get back is a positive.
Yeah, I missed it in the chat. Somebody asked about a Roki Sasaki update. The latest is they're hoping end of June.
Yes,
that Sasaki can be back in action. So, we're still a few weeks away from Sasaki being back, but for me, at least, the positive is that they have a timeline, because so many of these guys don't even seem to have a timeline right now. So, at least we have something to sort of point to when it comes to Sasaki coming back and getting back in the rotation again. But for now, I mean, how are we feeling about the rotation? I know Yama was not great yesterday, but it seems like guys are turning a corner. We're starting to see more 6-inning outings, and that feels like a really good thing.
Yes, and again, if you told me that you had Tony Gonsolin, Landon Knack, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and one of them was not going to go 5, you pick the one that it's going to be. It was not going to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I'm going to put that straight out there. That was not going to be the guy I was going to choose. But yeah, he was the only one that didn't. But yeah, they are starting to. I think it's a lot of that they're trusting a little bit more at this point, because they're saying what's happening is they're giving up early runs, and the bullpen is so beat up right now and being used so often that they're like, okay, you got to give us 5. I don't care if you're getting hit, you're just gonna have to wear it. And what happens is the exact opposite. They don't just wear it; they start to pitch well. They start to figure it out. They give up 5 runs and then give up nothing for the next, like in the first 2-3 innings, and then give up nothing for the next 2-3 innings. So I think that's where they're giving him a little more trust. Just saying, hey, you got to go deep. You got to go deep. You got to go deep. And I really think even they would have let Yamamoto go much longer. They tried to get him through 4 when he was over 90 pitches at that point. Like, they tried to let him go 4. I thought that just Yamamoto just was having his issues. He would get 2 strikes over and over again, and then just couldn't get that. Didn't have the put away pitch yesterday. That was really the only issue. But I love seeing it all. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, just not a lot of swing and miss from Yamamoto yesterday, which is what we're used to seeing. But it did not happen much yesterday. I don't take a whole lot out of it, other than it just was an off day against a good lineup, and so I don't think there's anything to kind of sort of read into that beyond what happened yesterday. Some other pitching news: Luis Garcia is on the injured list with what's being called an adductor issue.
Another one.
So 15 pitchers now on the injured list for the Dodgers. I mean, look, I know Garcia is not a guy that they were expecting to count on for a lot. I will say that he has exceeded my expectations so far this season. And I think just, I don't know, just the frustration of having another guy on the injured list is sort of what I'm looking at here.
100%. What the problem is that, like, he was pitching in high leverage situations because he had to pitch in high leverage situations. He started off pretty good, and then it started to taper off towards the last couple outings, and now he's on the IL because that's another person that they're just going to put on the IL. The one I want to talk to you about, though, is the Mookie Betts IL, because he's not going to go on the IL as of right now, but that's because Dave Roberts is saying we don't think that he's going to need to go on the IL, but we'll still monitor, which to me says that at some point he's going to go on the IL. But so he is it's a 4th left toe has a fracture.
Left toe. Okay, so not the pinky toe, the one next to it.
Yeah, the tip of the 4th left toe is fractured, and he's not playing. So I think there's 2 ways for me to look at this. Yes, it's fractured, and he's hurt, and he can't put his shoes on, and he's starting to be able to do that now, and it actually is this. Or he was struggling at the plate. He just needed some days off. And they said, so
you hurt your toe, huh?
Your 4th left toe has a tip of your toe fracture. Which way is it? If he goes on the IL, I'll believe it. If he doesn't go on the IL, I don't believe it. Is that fair?
That's fair. I'm gonna say that he actually did hurt his toe. Only because of who it is. And I mean, this is a guy that you're not really going to keep him out of the lineup unless there actually is something wrong. So I'm gonna lean on the side of Mookie did stub his toe. I guess he said he was trying to, using the bathroom, going to the bathroom late at night, stubbed his toe on a wall. We've all been there. So I'm gonna lean with that's what it is. But I am keeping my fingers crossed that it really isn't as serious as it could be. I mean, Dave Roberts has been saying we don't think it's going to be an IL stint. It's pain management. He can put on a shoe. So I'm going to just keep my fingers crossed that this is not, a typical Doc Roberts injury update.
Because at the same time, he's saying this, like nothing is going to change from now until 15 days. So if you put him on the IL, it's all going to be the same exact thing. It's not going to get better or worse in those next, 10 days. So there's no real reason for it. Basically, I don't think he is, but it almost sounds like he's saying, okay, Mook, just put on the shoe, play, and nothing's going to change. Just get out there and man up. It's weird for Doc to say something like that, but that's the way it kind of read to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, but we wait, we'll see. We'll find out this afternoon, probably more, about the Betts toe injury, whether or not he's going to be in the lineup at all for this big series against the Mets coming up. I mean, a chance to get back at the Mets after losing 2 of 3 in New York last week. Last week, Greg, it was just Mets pitching was fantastic. I just think the offense has to figure out how to solve some of those problems that they ran into in Queens.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do. I think they'll be okay here, especially if they start to pitch a little bit better, because that was a little bit of the issues. So I just want to see Dustin May tonight pitch well in the way that he has been pitching, getting that swing and miss, having the 7-8 strikeouts, which is a lot to ask for. I understand, but it's still asking for. It's what he's been doing recently. Play good defense, have the right guys in the lineup, and just hopefully somehow get to a bullpen that can hold leads.
Yeah, that's the other part. I mean, we saw Tanner Scott get moved. He's been moved out of the 9th inning for now. So we'll see how the trust tree stacks up when it comes to the late innings if the Dodgers are able to have the lead. Before we get out of here, last couple of minutes, you and I were talking about this before the show. Yeah. It is the 15th anniversary of Armando Galarraga's imperfect game, the perfect game that should have been but wasn't because Jim Joyce blew a call over at first base. I guess nowadays in the replay era, Armando Galaraga would have a perfect game under his belt.
He would. There's so many things about this that is just incredible to me. He's pitching a perfect game. It's the top of the 9th against Cleveland. Detroit's up 3-0. I'm watching the highlight again. And this guy hits a ball that's just a dribbler to the second base. First of all, are you watching it right now?
I'm looking at it right now.
So Miguel Cabrera starts running into second base, like going directly towards second base. That was Miguel Cabrera's fault as much as it was Jim Joyce's fault. Where are you going? That was nonsense. But even so, still got into him. He was over a full length. It was a full length that he was out by. They called him safe. I don't know how in the world Jim Joyce could call in that situation, in that moment. I guess if it was close, I could understand, but that wasn't even close. And to take away a perfect game was just idiotic. I asked you before, I was like, was that Angel Hernandez back there? It was awful.
Yeah, it was just a bad call. And it's funny, like watching it now, it's almost like Joyce wanted to call him out and then switched and called him safe. And even the runner, Jason Donald, put his hands on his head, kind of gave you that surrender cobra look that was just like, I don't even think he could believe that they called him safe. I think he just assumed that he was going to be the 27th out, and then that was going to be it. It is a play like that is probably never going to happen again because now we have replay, and I don't love replay, but this would have fixed it.
Yeah, but imagine if you already used your replay.
Oh, if you already
earlier
used
in the game. If you already used your challenge earlier in the game, and like he has to know the moment too, even if it was bang bang, even if it was just really super close,
which it wasn't. But
just that's a perfect game. Just let him have that. It was just ridiculous not to. The umpires make such horrific calls consistently to give that one. How do you not? Even if it was even if he was safe, you should have given it to him.
Just give it to. It was so close. Just be a part of history. Let history happen. Oh,
right,
man. Yeah, I think in those situations, if you're gonna it's got to be clear to give a guy a hit. Like it's got to be clear. Alas, it was not. So Armando Galaraga, in our hearts, he threw a perfect game, just not officially in the record book, unfortunately. So,
nope.
Anyway, that'll do it for this edition of the Blue Review. Appreciate you all for hanging out in the chat as always. Big 4-gamer starting against the Mets tonight at Chavez Ravine. Dustin May getting the start for the Dodgers. Stick around. Travis and DeMarco coming up here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. I'm certain they will talk a lot about what happened at Dodger Stadium over the weekend. We'll be back with you tomorrow, 8:30 to 8:55. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Parker, who I think is floating around there doing responsibilities.
And Anthony Jex.
And Anthony Jex, who helped get us up on. And thanks to the folks at LAX as well. For Greg, I'm Marcus. It's been a Blue Review. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
See you.